What's up, YouTube? There we go. We're going to try to do the solar panel video. First thing you got to understand when you're doing this, it might not be for everybody, so don't go jump in there and try to do too much at one time. What I found out, it's easier to try to put 3 solar panels on one board than it is try to make 3 individual solar panels. So I'll just do the one and let everybody see how that works, and then you just say, so for the sake of clarity, we'll just make it easier to show everybody. But anyway, if you don't know how to make a board, then you probably ought to go try to find another video. But what I do is just make a frame out of 2x2 frame, and the size that you need to work with is 48 by whatever you want. If you want to make a 2-panel board or a 4-panel board, you need to add that, do your math. I'm doing 3 panels on each board because it's just easier for me and the wife to handle them. And so I just make a frame, and this is actually 63 by 48 outside dimension. And I always try to keep everything inside 48 so you don't have to splice too much, because plywood comes 48 inches and most everything works out 48 inches in one direction. And then you take your plywood and put over top of that. I always glue and screw everything, and then I got to put a 1x on the front side to hold the glass off. And we'll show you all that when we get on into the video about the glass and how plexiglass and all that, how that goes. And then when you get this made, the thing you need to make sure of is leave the 4 corners open. And that's for humidity reasons, so that the glass don't fog up on the inside. I'll show you how to do it. I put a screen in here later on, a little piece of screen, so bugs and stuff don't get in it. But it keeps the pressure equal. And everybody, you want whatever material you feel most comfortable working with. It'd be the best material you can use. I prefer using wood. And I use a good paint, some good paint. Go buy some good exterior enamel paint. I use semi-gloss. At any rate, this as the board, and we'll go ahead and look at how you do the start on the solar cells themselves. Okay, there's something I want to show everybody here about how the solar cell works, and the fact that it doesn't need necessarily sunlight. Any kind of light produces electric current. You can see here that the meter is reading the light in this room. If I turn off this lamp, it goes down. Of course, there's still some sunlight in the room, but if you turn the lamp on, the voltage increases. Again, you can take an ordinary flashlight and shine it on there, and it's going to increase voltage, because any kind of light carries electricity, whether it be a lighter or a flame. It's the same thing. It increases the voltage, because light is energy. Light is electricity, not just sunlight, any light. So I thought that was kind of cool to throw that in there. Alright, now we're on the solar cells. Now when you order them, you'll get just the plain cells. You can order them pre-tabbed, but I don't suggest doing that. Like I said, they're really fragile, and to start off with, this ain't for everybody. I mean, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to do it. At any rate, you have to make sure your surfaces are clean. I get a little screwdriver and go over the edges before I get started. I go through the whole stack and make sure I clean the edges real good before that strip right there. You got a solder too, and you have to take your wire. What you get what's known as tabbing wire, and you have to cut this in 6-inch strips. So you just go ahead and unroll this out and cut tons of 6-inch strips like that there. You just have to have hundreds of them, literally, the whole roll. I mean, there's enough here to do 2 solar panels, or actually 6 solar panels, because I actually make 3 together, put 3 on one board, what I'm doing. At any rate, the cells are a 1/2 volt of electricity, and 2 cells will make 1 volt. Now, as a rule, in order to charge a 12 volt, or in order to charge any type of battery, the voltage you're charging you have to have 1.5 times more than that in order to charge it. So if it's a 12-volt battery, you need 18 volts to charge it. Nature takes over from there. You have 18 volts in one source and 12 volts in another source, the 18 volts will automatically travel to the 12 volt. And that's thus the flow of current. That's the flow of electricity. It's just unequal polarities. And nature makes sure that polarities remain equal in proximity. And that's what they will do, always. Anyway, so you get all these good and clean and make sure you get them all clean. What you're trying to do is you have to series what's known as a series circuit, and then you got what's known as parallel circuit in DC. And what you're trying to do, you got to make it, two half volts make 1 volt, and then the next one will make 1.5, and then 4 of them will make 2 volts, and so on and so forth. In order to do that, you kind of have to weave the wires from positive back to negative again. Now the front side of the cell is negative, and the back side is positive. So if you hook your wires across the back of one and across the front of the other, and that makes up 1 volt. You see what I'm saying? Now we have to series 36 of these together to make 18 volts, and that'll charge a 12-volt car battery. But like a golf cart is 36 volts. Well, you'd have to series enough of these together to be, I think, 52 volts to charge a 36-volt battery. Well, now again, you could use 3 sets of solar panels and put them together in a series instead of parallel, and you can make as many volts as you want. You can work the whole system. That's the beauty of the solar deal. You can do it any way you want. If you start with the 36-volt panel or the 18-volt panels, which is 36 cells total. So that's 3 rows of 12 to fit the board that we just discussed. So 12 of these together will fit right inside that 48-inch deal. In fact, that's how they make them in the factory. They keep them underneath that 48-inch thing. So what we're trying to do in this process is we get a wire from under one and up over the other one on both sides of this. And you want to try to keep this even and straight and within the exact proportion. And make 12 in a row, just to go out there and slide them off on the table. And then you'll go out there and do them. We'll show you how, show you how to do all that when we get out there. So the primary part of this step is to series these cells together. And that's what we'll be doing. Under one and over the other. 12 makes 1 whole row. And I'll show you how to do some of this. Again, try not to get fingerprints on it as much as you can, because that just makes it worse. You do not want to touch them more than you have to. I think I got a hot iron now. Yeah, it's burnt. Now that's tinning fluid. That keeps your iron nice and clean. And like I said, it's all got to be clean. If it gets too dirty, just get a piece of sandpaper and hit it a couple times. You can hit it while it's hot, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. And I'll show you what you got to do here. You get your wire set where you want it. Really no big deal. So I'll leave my end a little bit shy, because you'll see when that extra solder will cover that up. Plus that gives you a little more to play with. Always dip down and get a little solder on the gun. You don't have to try to hold all that at once. Start by your finger and go that way. Work away from yourself. You'll see it's melt. You don't have to sit around, just move right on down with it. You see, there you go. And you have to sit here and call tabbing, tab all the cells, and then go back and we'll set up and string them together in the series. Start right here, go that way. There's really nothing to it. Just takes a little bit of delicate touch here. I had to learn a few cuss words when I started doing these, because I broke quite a few of them. Teach you a little bit of finesse. Something else. All right. You get the picture. Put a little bit of, you gotta have a little bit of acid, flux, same difference. Muriatic acid, what that is. Muriatic acid, silver solder. This tabbing wire, it's got solder in the wire, or on the wire, on the little strip. I like to put a little bit of that silver in there, because that makes it won't ever come apart. You'll break the hole, you'll completely destroy it before the wire goes loose, just dabbing it on that little silver right there. A little dab of silver is all it takes. And it solders so much smoother and easier, and you just move right on. You don't have to, you get used to it. Not too hard. It takes a long time. Again, you got to put 36 of these together to make one solar panel to put out 18 volts. And that charges a 12-volt battery. The more you get, the more you got. So what I do, I just sit here and get 12 of these made like this. And I'll show you how the jig works. Make you a jig. Okay. Alright, now everybody has a jig they do, and there's many ways of doing a jig. I did mine like this because, the less you have to touch it, the better off you're going to be. You'll see that once you get started doing them. Now, there's some people use peg boards and whatnot, such as that. The only problem I have with them pegs is, when you do get through, you got to pull the pegs out, and then you end up chipping and breaking your little thing if you ain't careful. It's kind of like freehand, and if you can do it, if you can, just get one straight edge, you can lay it right in there. It goes so much faster than that, a peg jig, because you take so much more time. This don't take no time at all. At any rate, you're looking for your inner dimension. The outside is always, we try to work with the 48 inches, because you can get 12 of these cells inside that and still leave, around 3 inches on each end. And that works out to about 3/8 of an inch in between them, in between each cell. But if you want a jig set up to the center of each one. So what I did, just take your dimension, and what it works out to be is 3.5 inches center to center. If you can remember that. Just get you a 48-inch jig. You come in 3 inches, and then go 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 all the way down, and you should have 3 inches when you get left. So you should have a 3 inch on each end open, and then you'll have a 3.5 inch on center mark all the way down. And what that does is, we get this board set up. I had to do it where I can prop up anyway, so this works out real well for me. It gives me something to prop up on. First thing you have to do is get you a cell. And this time they upside down, you mess with them. So I just center it up inside the mark. It gives you, a straight edge to work with. You just put the cell in the center of each one of these. And it don't matter if you get them off. The eye won't even tell. You won't even notice it. What you will notice if you don't get them on that line all the way down, that's what throws your eye off. This little gap in between each one, you can't hardly tell the difference between those. And what I do is take the first start one right there and get me some tape, take that first one down, and just keep everything pulled back towards you, and then it ain't no hard thing. You actually sit down and relax and do it. You don't have to sit there all tensed up, trying to, not touch nothing. And again, you gotta make sure, go through and make sure all your stuff's clean. If it hasn't set up for a little while, then you might have to go back and re-clean your stuff. But this is fresh back here, so it's good to go. You're only gonna solder 3 points on the positive side, the back of it. It is what it is. I don't know why. everybody else probably knows why. No big deal. At any rate, all these will go up here upside down. In order, of course, in order to be able to solder the back side of it. And when you get them laid up there, you just keep a gentle tug that way against the board. Take you some. Always use my awl. Give me something to work with. You may have to work your wires a little bit to make sure they're even, nice and straight. They're going to touch all three points. Again, get you down. Let me get your tin fluid on there. Get you a little dab of solder. Always start with this first one. Make sure you don't move it. Push down on the wire. And just solder. You'll see it sweat right to it. I'll get that to my screwdriver. It dries almost instantaneously. See, it ain't even moved none. As long as you stay up tight against that board. And I'm not. So what I do is hold that still, push down. And then we'll dive. So this one. Like that. Do all 6 of these. You have to hit that tin fluid every time. You need to hit that solder every time or you won't have enough on there. Always slip under there and make sure that it's always loose. Make sure it stays nice and loose. You don't want no pressure on it. No tension. Tension is not good. Put a little flux on the next one. Center it up in there. Make sure your wire's going to touch all the way down. Move it a little bit. See that involves now. And it's just right. Always get one on each side first. Then do all 3 of them. It don't move on. Ain't no big deal. You get the hang of it. Big thing to remember is everything to be clean. It's not clean, you're gonna have a hard time. Make sure you use silver solder. It's got the lead-free silver solder. It's good. You got no lead in it, so it ain't dangerous for you. It don't put off any fumes. Very little. I don't, every now and then you might get a whip of it if you stick your face right over in it. Be your own fault. Ain't no big deal. Been soldering for my whole life. Okay, now when we get down here to the end of it, you got to make sure you got 2 wires sticking off on that side too. That ain't no big deal. Gotta just get 2 sets. There'll be 1 cell at the end, just add 2 wires on it. So you actually have 4 wires on that one last piece. Always just put me a little piece of tape on there when I hold it. Make it easy. Move on you. And then we'll be ready to flip it over. Take it outside. Tape off both ends of it. Be careful when you do that. Reusing pieces, you want to get moved every time. When this moves, you see, it moves the whole thing. You can actually pick it up by these wires, but again, you do it like I said, you don't have to do it. You don't have to pick it up at all. But I just got cut me 2 boards. I got a flat one here that I just lay on there. Ouch. I just lay this board on that board. Flip the whole thing over like that. Take that one off. And then it's right side up. It's ready to go outside. You know, all you got to do is just tip it up and slide it off out there. But I'll show you that when we get out there. Let's take this one outside. Show you how to center them up. Okay, now out here we're going to just do one panel, you know, one solar panel inside the, I actually put 3, you know, like I said, we put 3 solar panels on one board. That's what it amounts to. Like 36 cells make one 18-volt panel. Now what you have to do is series these together, again using the same type of, way that you did it to start with. You have to the current, what you use your bus wires for. You cut these and they lay across here and they solder, and that just connects, that makes one terminal. As again I said, you know, these 2 wires here are the same wire basically. Just the top and then the bottom, and then the top and the bottom all the way across. And then when you get down to that end, you'll have to tie all 4 of those across. So the current flows around and back down through this one. And then of course at this end you'll have to lay a bus wire across all 4 of them. And the current will flow out of that one right into this one and right on back up, and you put a single terminal right there. And you'll have a positive there and a negative down here. Or vice versa, sorry. At any rate, that's where you tie your wires to. And you can see here on the panel I already made how I do that. You know, there's the first 3 of that are one panel, one solar panel. That's one 18-volt series. And you got one terminal there, and all the way at the other corner over here. And then the rest of that's just tied together. There and there. It ain't really that difficult. You had a magic current flow all the way through as a full series, round, back, round, back. You got a positive lead there, negative lead there. 36 panel cells make 18 volts. And when you get out here, the first thing you got to do before you do any of that soldering is make sure you get your center line. Find the center, always find the center of everything when you're working on something. Never work from the edge. That's it. Now you got you got to secure these cells down. Best thing to use is silicone. Silicone works better than anything. Just get your tube of it anywhere. You know, I've seen the warehouse will carry that silicone. And what you do, just do half at the time. I already did the other half. Pick up 6 of them so that you don't move it too much. Just put a little bead, a circular bead. That's the way I do them, like that. Right where each one is. And then look at the one right beside you to tell where you got to put it for this one. You really don't have to do no marking. You get that first one marked in the middle, then you work from the middle out. When you lay it out, and then you know it, everything works from the center out. And always make sure you got something. Don't you ever use your fingers. Never touch it with your fingers, because you get fingerprints on there. You got to wipe them off. You know, breaking them. Just lightly burn, you know, seed it down in the silicone. It'll take an hour or so, but you can immediately go to work with it. Just don't turn the panel over onto the floor for about an hour. It'll take longer than that to do all the soldering and mount the glass on it. So the first thing you have to do is make sure you set them down so that when they get tilted one way or the other, they don't slide anywhere. Silicone's the best thing in the world. There's something else. Some good glue there. They glue glass together. That's how they make aquarium silicone. Do this on all of them. No big deal. Yeah, just a little bit. Don't take a whole lot underneath there. Things don't weigh nothing. I'm putting too much on there probably. Okay, now we got the iron hot. Got your bus wire cut in there nice and even. Put a little bit of flux on each one of them. All the way down. Always tin iron. Get a little bit of solder on the end of it. Again, use your tool to hold it down. It start real easy right here. Very easy. Yeah, it's going to stick to the paint a little bit, and that's good because it'll hold it down. But you don't have to worry about fastening the ends. It'll stay. Kind of helps keep it down. Keep all your ends, loose ends pushed down. Take a small pair of scissors when you get done. Just clip the end off of that. Always just leave it on there because it gives you something to grab hold of when you need it. So when you get done, you just clip the ends off of it. To that part, over that one again. Beauty of soldering, you always go over it. Not to it, it's all about the heat. Again, just peel these up a little bit, trim them off. Oops. Not that bad. You do both ends like that in the series. Just old indoor outdoor little stretchy cords, 2-way wire. Put a 16 gauge, the cheapest thing you can get, you know, and it's white and it's already coated, and you know it's good copper wire. And it's easy to solder. And I take some thumbtacks. When I do it, I get mine set like I want it, where my terminals are all going to end up at. Just bend the wire right there. So that it sits like that. Put the thumbtack in there. Take a hammer if you have to. Tap it down. Plug it up. And then it goes, all your little terminals will go all the way around each side. You had 3 on one side, 3 around the other side. You end up with 6 wires. Pull them nice and snug. Get them all run nice and even. And then you take a bead of that silicone, that same silicone, take your thumbtacks out, and then run a little bead of silicone in the corner. That'll hold your wires down so they dry. Leave the thumbtacks on there till your wires dry. Yeah, if you solder that right there, this will stay. If it don't stay, put a thumbtack in it. Keep it up in that corner nice and neat. Get it done nice and neat, it'll go all the way around up to it. And then of course you'll solder that. Well, I ain't gonna solder that right now because I got to do all the other 3 of them. I wanted to do the one in the center so y'all see for clarity, because you put all these on there, it gets kind of confused. And then at that end, you'll run a white wire all the way around in the corner. And again, you'll catch another. You'll actually have one there and then one there. And you'll have 2 wires coming down through there, like this side here. You know, you got one there, and it meets with that one, and there's actually 2. They run all the way around. And then the third one picked up right there. And all 3 of them go into the hole. I did it like that so that they'd be all nice and neat in the corner, and then of course you separate them inside that box. On the back side, there's a box mounted right there on the other side. That's where you put your diodes at. So we need to take a look at that, because the diode is actually just a one-way valve, if you will. You need to put a diode in so that at night when the sun goes down, it doesn't drain the batteries dead. It lets electricity only travels through it in one direction, so it won't travel back. At night, when the voltage is off of the solar panels, there's no voltage there, then the batteries have more voltage than the solar panel does, so therefore that's the nature of electricity. It'll run back the other way, and it'll turn into heat. These will actually get warm and it'll release heat and drain your batteries down at night. So you put a blocking diode on each circuit. You need one. These are 10 amp diodes. I just put one of these for each set, you know, each 18 panel cell set. And it just goes in the negative side and strip part places the battery. So it's no big, you know, it keeps electricity from running backwards. It only goes one way. And then when you get that put on there and get all 3 of them in there, you put your glass on. And what I do, I just put some of these pegs in there, stand off, so that the plexiglass don't, you know, if you can buy Lexan, you would, you know, but it's cheap, you know, old man is gonna use plexiglass. It ain't like they in high traffic area or nothing. They don't scratch. Not gonna be scratching on them too much. So they work pretty good. I just put a few of them in there to keep them sagging in. And again, when you build that thing, make sure you leave that corner open, put a screen in it so it don't fog up on either side. Keeps the humidity even inside and out. The glass won't fog up. Put a screen in there, keep the bugs out. Don't make it seal it tight though. That's the trick. Don't seal it up there tight, because then you'll have problems with the glass on the inside getting foggy. That's about all there are to that. Hope everybody hope it helps out. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. And hopefully that'll help folks. Peace and love. Big ol' heads up.